Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Episode 202 of the Winners and Losers program begins now. All right, we've started. Hi, everybody. It's me, Hank Thompson. Welcome to the show. Like, subscribe, click on the notification bell. I don't know why. I don't think you need to do that. But leave comments and hit the thumbs up and tell the algorithm gods that someone else should watch this. Let's get this subscriber count up to 740. It was at 739 a few days ago. I posted a video and it dropped by 2. So real professional, real good at this shit over here. Anyway, lots to talk about. Oh my God. I'm going to keep the personal rambling down to a minimum. Honestly, I've got so many freaking tabs. It's going to take forever to get through all this shit. So hopefully we just kind of fly through it. I need to really force that and force myself to not get so bogged down with all the crazed ramblings that I like to spew and put on the internet for some reason. Check out the last episode though. Lots of good TYT talk. I mean, this is like a three and a half hours. It's ridiculous. I'm about to post up the manly men time thing. I don't know how to label it properly to get my overwhelming masculinity into the bloodstream of the internet. Because if that works, then people will come at me with all kinds of horrifying, terrifying. Success on the internet is like comes with, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like you're trying to grow a garden, you want to cultivate a cool audience, you want to have like a fun place, a place to connect with people, a place to maybe find develop community, connect with other people who, do shows and stuff, creators on TikTok, they call them YouTubers. Oof, does that word still? Oof, God. But if it goes well, you'll end up like the planet is just full of like weird little goblins that show up and threaten people for stuff. Look, I just noticed this thumbnail. Oh fuck! Look how bald I am. My God! Look, this thumbnail here is goofy. I gotta fix that. So yeah, good times. Nothing. What do I got? Got my shot this morning. Got the flu shot and the COVID shot. Excited about that. I'm probably gonna have a rough day tomorrow. It does tend to. I have had it before. A few times, and it usually kind of knocks me out a little bit, which is my immune system activating, doing exactly what I intended it to do and what I want it to do, which is build up an immunity and an antibody profile that'll be able to respond when inevitably I have to breathe in some disgusting human being's goddamn air. And the problem is that we all own the air, sort of. I mean, if you think about that, the wealthy can afford better filtration in their homes and to live in places where the air is cleaner. Air pollution kills millions of people every year, and it's usually not the rich. So actually, in a sense, we do not really we don't have equanimity, equitability about the air. We don't formally call them our oxygen lords yet, but we probably should. I actually did see a guy on TikTok talking about scuba diving. He did a very great job explaining how all the pressure stuff. Why did I bring that up? Yeah, he was very good at explaining it because anyway. So like, this guy's a great communicator. Anyway, give the old one a look. So yeah, feeling fine though. It's only been a few hours. And so yeah, I'm feeling good to do the show. I got to get some stuff edited and uploaded hopefully by tonight. I mean, I doubt I'll have this show up until tomorrow, which will be Friday. Depending on how I'm feeling, but Friday, September 27th, I'm going on a trip. I've ordered a balloon to take me back home to my magical lands from the Crystal Forest, from the Cauldron Kingdom, from where I was born, from where I was nay. Isn't nay like doesn't that mean born in French or something? It also means horse noises. But speaking of horse noises, I'm going to go see my family. That wasn't even a transition. Yeah, excited to see my family. So this is going to get sad real fast. Oh my God. Nothing sad happening quite, but I did see a guy once say a thing like, oh yeah, how old are your parents? So they're in their 70s. You see them like twice a year. He goes, yeah, well, they're probably going to live, what, 5 years more? You'll say you're probably only going to see your parents 10 more times in your life. And he's like, if you start counting down, it really changes the way you think you should see it. And I was like, oh my God, yeah. Like my parents are in their mid 70s. I'm like, damn, they're both like, fuck. I think about that way too much. It's sad. I get bummed out. It's going to be a fucking, yeah. What the hell, man? Maybe there can be AIs and I can have an AI dad and AI mom and they can kind of like, call me up and make me go, oh God, I'm trying to watch this YouTube video, but now my parents are calling. But then eventually it'll be like, oh my God, but they'll never. And then but it'll be like that movie where the guy has the AI girlfriend. Is that 2049? Blade Runner? Which one has the AI girlfriend? She's a very attractive young lady. But in my case, I could probably only afford people who look like my parents, which there'll be a parent relationship, not a girlfriend. There's going to be so many crazy AI and like robot humanoid things. I really want to switch over from doing here. Let's get to a story. Oh, actually, well, okay. Yeah, I'll just show this real quick. I'm not even doing a really story here, but these Waymo cars, these freaking things, I've seen these things around LA. Didn't even know what they were at first. Utterly befuddled that they're testing this stuff on the public streets, considering. But the humanity is having a kind of immune system reaction to some of this. Sorry of how the sizing is looking there. It's a little goofy with this website. But some people were like, there's a guy in the car here in this video, and they're drawing on it, and it was this video that went viral. I have mixed. I feel sorry for the person in the car. It seems like a very uncomfortable place to be. I don't think that's a good thing. The guy's got a dog. He's holding it. Anybody would, and so people are surrounding the car, drawing on it. He has no idea what their intentions are. That's not okay. On the other hand, and again, it's not okay, but like a society has a way of sort of like provoking like a little, like, like the nematocysts that go like little, like ultimately though, how much of this sort of pattern of thing is going to happen where cities either respond with violence enforcement possibilities, which is usually their first go, or let me turn this off here. I think was that oh God damn it, I think that was okay, no, I think we're okay. All right, sorry. Or perhaps it's enough to like say, okay, well, maybe the people don't like these cars, because there's been like all these like things I've been seeing come across the socials where a bunch of self-driving cars in San Francisco are trapped themselves in an intersection and none of them know where to go, can move, or like driving around in some parking lot where they stage, but like just slowly driving around all night, just honking at each other. But this is a case where people are in the car. So that's a threatening thing to that person. Whether that's the intentions of those people, it still puts someone who into an awful bit of discomfort. And that could be discouraging to the industry. More than likely, they'll come at the, they'll use the tools that the government likes to use, particularly if it's in the interest of wealthy corporations, wealthy individuals and corporations that can bribe people, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later. Nancy Pelosi is going to make an appearance. Save those thoughts for later, Hank. So so I'm looking forward to seeing my family, going home for a trip. Going to be good. It'll be my like holiday trip too, because meaning I'm not going to go home for Thanksgiving or Christmas. Bit of a long flight. I'm really stressed. I stress pretty badly with with travel. Didn't used to be this rough on me, but it's really tiring. And I usually come back to LA more exhausted than when I left. It's not exactly recuperative. Not even that I go home and I have one of those families where we're just like at each other's throats. It's not one of those. I'm so exhausted by the time I get back. And so hoping to, so it'll be great to see the family. It'll be great to see my mom and my dad and stuff, and do some, eat some burgers. My dad and I like to go get burgers and other edible foods that we enjoy eating together. What is that? So that's happening. What would be wonderful? I want to switch over my browser thingy here real quick to a handsome boy. Look at that guy. Let's get the big one. Let's do the big one. Oh man, that looks goofy, huh? Let me boop 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 boop. We're back. The cat. Look at me. That's back when my beard was still there. I was so stressed out about how my beard falling out back in those days. This is like about 2 years ago when I had been bonding and hanging out with the cat indoors. We had not yet brought her inside, and I found this picture and I was like, damn, I'm really rough on how I look. I think I look like someone who doesn't. I got to work on that. I got to solve all my other problems and then focus on those strange body image problems. But boy, losing the beard really hurts. It's starting to go into the mustache, and that's when it's like I'm maybe going to have like an involuntary little stash. You know what I'm saying? One of those. But anyway, hopefully someone sees this when I start posting it up. I've got a friend who posted it who's like saying, hey, someone help me with, go find my friend a cat home. So that's cool. Hopefully that works. I really want to go through a personal connection if possible. I have very few of those. Doing the Young Turks project kind of wrecked a whole bunch of those. Not that I had a lot to begin with anyway. So, oh, there it is again. Beard got a bit longer there. Holding on to a kitty cat. Look at this girl. Look at her. She's dying. This is her before. This is like the day I started feeding her. I filmed a whole bunch of stuff. I could have made $1 trillion on TikTok putting up cat videos. What if I did that and then it got successful? And then I keep the cat because it's my moneymaker. And then I'm a guy who keeps a cat for money. That doesn't seem like the right reason to have a cat, right? Oh, I love her so much. Get in the fucking camera shot. Oh, I love her. Sponsored by Ring Light. Fuck you, Hank. Don't be rude. That's not cool. But look at this. She's such a gorgeous animal. Look at her. She's above average. Look at how sad she was back out that way. She didn't even know what to do. All flea bitten and shit. She's a good human cat. She was raised. She's spayed and chipped. Somebody abandoned her. Her original name was Snooky, which I think she looks like an Eva personally. And so, yeah, she came around. She got real healthy though. Look at that. Isn't that weird that that's the same cat? Oh, look like a fucking crazy. Look, there she is indoors watching YouTube. This is what's in the back of the thing. I built this like thing out of a bunch of wood that I'd gathered up off the sidewalk from an old bunk bed. That's what that like ladder thing back there is. Stainless steel bolts, because I have an account at the bolt website where I was buying stuff, and I was like, fuck it, it's just a little bit more money for stainless steel. Gets cat piss on it, it's gonna be fine. I got a cat piss story if I remember to tell it. I can constantly experiment with these wire things or just hanging stuff in a way, and she kind of sort of likes it, but just like a child of our generation of right now, she just loves watching TV. Not that I set up, that's my roommate's iPad. He set up this picture, but she does still sit there and watch iPad stuff quite a lot. There she is outside. Look at that. She was living on, this is her old home, new home. Old home, new home. Come on. I can't afford to take her to the vet. She needs to get vaccinated. She needs to get I need someone to take this cat off my hands because I can't. I can't. Look at that face. Same damn cat. Amazing. Very striking. Come on. Oh, that's a shit. It's not framed up real. Oh, here, let's try this one. This is not going to work probably. Oh, that worked. Holy crap. Good. Yeah. Very striking animal, I would say. Let's go. Look at that face. Come on. Who doesn't want that waking up next to you? She doesn't even mind the cat care. She was actually very well behaved at the vet. There she is. I'd been hanging out with her outside before we trapped her. And see, the thing is, I had to do it all by myself with my fucked up wrists. Like if my roommate was we can't do a 2-person trap because was super skittish about a second person. So we had to I had to very slowly get her used to the thing, and I did manage to finally get it done. Oh look, there. Why did I have that? Oh, these are videos. This is the first time. So sad. Just a days away. She wasn't finding food clearly. Oh, yeah, but that's right. Look at her. Look at this. First time. I have no idea if she's going to attack me, give me some kind of cat disease.
That's nice.
And turns out she's just a little sweetheart who no one had loved for, and I had to clean off that schmutz. Look at that. Come on, how does that not melt your heart, huh? How does that not make you want to like and subscribe and maybe throw me some bucks on Patreon because I owe my roommate about, I've spent $1,500 to $2,000 on this thing during a time in which that's a major percentage of my income. So Come on, man. Let's see what's next. Oh, yeah, this is outdoors. She's fucking...
I bet you some food.
Poor little girl. All worried. Sleeping in the fucking trash or in a planter box.
Look at you standing off the concrete.
Me talking to her.
Sleeping in the dirt.
Nice. So, anyway, there it is. Here's the cat. Everybody loves the cat. Everybody loves the guy with a fuzzy face.
Do something.
All right, let's close this shit. See you later. See you later, cat. Let's get to politics. People aren't tuning in for this crap. People are tuning in for... Come on, Hank. Don't ruin it. This is your moment. Okay, so, yes, that's right. We're back now. You knew that already. as I was just saying earlier, I kind of want to cover more like tech and futurism and kind of the sciencey sort of tech stories. Like, I talk about it a fair amount. I think I think the humanoid robot thing, and there's someone on TikTok talking about organoid, like brain tissue computing and stuff, and like I think I don't know how fast they're pushing for it, but they're already ramping up like mass production of robot humanoid shapes. There's an immense amount of nuance to a human being, comparatively speaking, in terms of our machinery and our ability to be precise and stuff. I actually had bookmarked a video of a guy at a factory talking about that somewhere that I want to kind of get to, because I literally like went to school for manufacturing and shit, like for that kind of, not that that makes me some sort of expert, but I think there's something to be said for my theory of that the ruling class wants to replace all humans with robots or build a fast enough escape kind of vessels to get off the planet. Although that's certainly not less likely than them just simply eventually replacing their workforce with robots. They're going to need to maintain various populations of humans likely for some time, but ultimately the problem that faces the ruling class and the oligarchs who run the place is that human beings are pain in the ass. They're really annoying. Same reason I find the cat annoying. I need inputs and I produce outputs. Okay? Try not to say the words that will get me banned off YouTube. Poop. The word is poop. But humans have all this gross squishy shit and emotions, and we need sleep, and we need to do all kinds of stuff, and we rebel when they try to do slavery, although that can go on for quite a long time. They certainly have been doing that and still probably committed to that project, certainly all over the world. We're nowhere near the end of that horror, but I think it's an interesting way to illustrate my whole notion of what it is that your body does. All your body does, both in abstract and in physical forms, is organize things from macro states to micro states to create value in the form of entropy, both through physical, such as aligning something in a very specific way. For instance, like a woodworker takes somewhat more messy configurations of atoms and then very precisely organizes them into a more ordered configuration of atoms. Similar thing happens with information, and they're doing it with AI. I think Neuralink will be a way that they use to study that. Mark Zuckerberg has these new glasses out. He's been rebranded as a guy with slightly longer hair and wears a necklace, so everybody thinks he's cool or something, and he works out a bunch now. If you're a billionaire and you don't have trainers making you look like a fit guy or fit gal, grow up. Don't be a mess if you're a billionaire. How dare you? I've been eating better. Cucumbers are on sale. Not a big cucumber guy, but boy, these were delicious. They were so good. And I've been eating a little bit better. If I can get some momentum going, y'all gonna see me come roaring back, man. You think I'm interesting and fun to watch now? Wait till my confidence comes back, okay? Wait till it comes back. Have I ever had confidence? Probably not. It was autistic masking the whole time. But now, okay, so we got stories to do, and really we're not gonna play this video. So we got Erik Prince and Cenk Uygur having a weird moment. This isn't even about my TOT story. We got Nancy Pelosi being the scoundrel that she's always been. That'll be fun. Eric Adams is indicted. Is he at Rikers already? Has he been arrested? I don't think he has yet. But the dude, the mayor of New York, indicted on bribery and all kinds of stuff. Man, you got to be the biggest like scumbag in the world to get caught being a corrupt politician in this country, don't you? It's like, what the fuck, man? Come on, a lying cop politician? What? That's a stunner. We'll get to that. What else do I got? Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are having a debate. I just have bookmarks that are like 2 weeks old for that story. We'll try to skip past that. The Letcher County story where the sheriff killed a judge. We're going to talk about that. Probably going to be uncomfortable and weird. I don't know. I haven't really done much prep for any of this. I would run around all day. And then cooking and stuff. I did a bunch of, cookies. I bought apples and cucumbers and I cut them up because I don't want to have to do it later on. Chicken. It was $5 chicken. They call it $5 Chicken Thursday. Party, man. Party. $5 for a whole dang cooked chicken. How much plastic soaks into the chicken? I don't know. How much plastic soaks from my fingers into the chicken? Probably a lot, since I'm 1% plastic. That's probably a lot. It's probably too much for that. But all right, so here we go. Let's jump over. What do we got here? We got some stories to get into. Okay, hold on. All right, rewind. Okay, so we're watching Rising on the Hill. Nancy Pelosi's husband. These are like 80-somethings. They're richer than Richard Gere. They're super wealthy. What are you doing in your 80s if you have over $100 million still trying to make money? There must be just like a fun thrill or something. I would just sit in the backyard. I'd make sure I had enough space to not have to hear anybody. I'd hire a team of Navy SEALs to destroy any land animal or sky animal that comes near me so that I wouldn't have to hear their noises or be pooped upon. And I would eat General Tso's chicken every day. I'd take a break. Every 2 weeks, I'd have one single burrito just to break things up a little bit. I'd listen to Christina Perri's 1,000 Years in very expensive headphones, like $400 headphones. And I would just slowly waste away until the city comes over to inspect my property and haul me away for defiling humanity. What am I saying? Why did I decide that's how I'm going to? I just can't believe that these rich people are fucking looking for money when they have $100 million and they'll be dead in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years. Although at that upper level, they could probably still hang on for like the life expectancy for the 1% is very different than it is for their workers, than it is for the population from which they source all their wealth, because they have the power of the state control of the monopoly on violence for everybody. So let's see what Robbie has to say.
My, what a coincidence. Nancy Pelosi's husband sold over $500,000 worth of Visa stock just weeks before the DOJ's antitrust lawsuit against that company, according to the New York Post. In case you missed it, the Justice Department has sued Visa on Tuesday, accusing the company of illegally monopolizing the debit card market and driving up prices for businesses and consumers. The suit alleges Visa handles more than...
Whoa, weird. A corporation doing things that harms the society that allows it to be such a profitable and immortal entity? Weird. I've never heard of such a thing. Ever notice how just anything that is good for business, air quotes, also means bad for everybody else? Maybe we should live in a world where that's not the case. Let's work on that. That should be the goal. Fuck all your isms and all the other things. But how about a thing where we just the conduct of commerce doesn't automatically mean bad for workers, bad for the environment, bad for the future, bad for the society, possible war, like concentration of wealth, the people that are going to sustain the system as it is. In the best we could hope for is that we have a government that slightly looks out for it and says, yeah, yes, I know that's the government's job. I know this might be simplistic, but is to curtail the worst practices of businesses, either through legislation. That usually there's judicial movements that, cases build up over time and eventually maybe it reaches the point of legislation. We don't have anything close to that. That's kind of an ideal. I mean, I guess in a sense that's sort of how it works, but how about just a world where the incentives aren't built so that when things are good for a business, it also means bad for everybody else in the world? Yeah, but they got to bring the product to market. They got to bring the... Yeah, I know. Come on. Stop it. Anyway, it's particularly like these big financial companies, too. We're not talking about Jimmy Jojo's ice cream shop.
60% of debit card transactions rakes in over $7 billion in annual processing fees. The suit further alleges that Visa used its market power to stifle competition and keep fees high. Statement Attorney General Merrick Garland said, quote, "We allege that Visa has unlawfully amassed the power to extract fees that far exceed what it could charge in a competitive market. Merchants and banks pass along those costs."
These fonts are way too small. Oh my God. That's fuck.
Cost to consumers, either by raising prices or reducing the quality of service. As a result, Visa's unlawful conduct affects not just the price of one thing, but the price of nearly everything. Meanwhile, Paul Pelosi,
capitalism and everything trends towards monopoly, competition, but yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's stop with that bullshit. Frustrating. Okay, so Nancy Pelosi's a scoundrel. Her husband is sold some stocks here, is quiverquant.com, not Nancy. I just searched for stock tracker Nancy Pelosi. Let's see if we have some information here. Here's that Visa transaction. They traded, well, I guess they have a range purchase here between 500,000 and 1 million. So they sold off some in a sale. I don't know how to necessarily know. This must be the Visa price, Visa stock prices, I'm guessing. They sold off some stuff, or is this a loss? I don't know what to make of this column. Oh, estimated excess return of the underlying stock since the transaction. Oh, okay. So since the transaction, they bought NVIDIA. That's gone down in price, but that's been not that I'm tracking that stuff, but I know NVIDIA stock has gone crazy through the roof for a very long time. So July 2nd, they sold off 500,000 something in Visa stock and sold 2,000 shares, and it's gone down 1.44%. Their Microsoft stock has also gone down, or after selling 1 million on July 30th, that's gone down 4.35%. But yeah, so here's Pelosi's stuff. This is just some charts and things. Corporate donors, it has proposed legislation. What's it say for net worth here? This is according to this site. Nancy Pelosi has a net worth of $253 million per their latest net worth. I'm just going to assume this isn't bullshit. Maybe it seems like it's probably not, but I don't know. It's hard to say when it's net worth, but I've heard over 100 million for sure. In fact, I did try to verify that by going to Open Secrets and search for it. Get rid of that. And this is from 2018. As of 2018, Open Secrets has her estimated net worth at $114,662,521. So Donald Trump. Oh, God damn it. This is back to the Nancy Pelosi stuff. Fuck. I have the tabs in the wrong order. So just a button on that. Maybe I'll edit this back over. Boop, 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 boop. All right. Sorry, everybody. Adding this to the Nancy Pelosi story, but I recorded it after. You'll see. It'll make sense. Don't worry. I'll edit it. So Trump is calling out the world's most corrupt human being in the entire existence of corruption. Is calling upon Nancy Pelosi being prosecuted for insider trading. I haven't heard this audio. Let's see what he says.
And Nancy Pelosi has a little problem because her husband sold their Visa stock. They had a lot of Visa stock one day before Visa was announced that Visa is being sued by the Department of Justice. Think of that.
I don't think it was one day.
Nancy Pelosi sold vast amounts of Visa stock one day before the big lawsuit that we all read about a few days ago was brought against Visa. You think it was luck? I don't think. She should be prosecuted. Nancy Pelosi should be prosecuted for that.
So, okay, I agree. I think it's completely disgusting what Nancy Pelosi does with her insider trading, what all these Congress people do. She refused to, she was asked about it once. She said, we're a capitalist country. We should be able to participate in the capitalism. It's like, she's super corrupt. Clearly, the corruption flows in so many different ways. The way they give each other jobs. It's like, I describe it as rat king solidarity. Like, you know, a rat king is a big bundle of rats with their tails all intertwined. That's what the ruling class is. So they give each other jobs in their boards. Hillary Clinton was on the fucking board of Walmart in like the 90s or something, early 90s, before she was governor, the governor's wife of Arkansas, before that was her job. Maybe even during, I'm not actually quite sure. But Trump is not innocent of any of this shit either. This guy is so corrupt. This guy is unbelievably corrupt in all kinds of ways. His children are involved. Jared Kushner gets $2 billion deal right after being in the White House. Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner made $650 million while they were government employees for 4 years, during those 4 years. But let's get them all. I'm just saying, though, that the point is Pelosi, being such a weird greed demon, so insistent upon still making money well into her 80s, which is just befuddling. I can't. She gives these guys a lane to do this. I don't know if this is going to amount to much more than Trump just saying another thing, because I'm sure it'll get replaced by some other crazy deal that, you know, this politics season is you know, off the charts bizarre. But if I were advising, not that I'm looking to give the Republicans tips, but they should run on this, because you can explain it in a way that Americans can understand. Insider trading is not that complicated. She knows about stock prices. She's heavily invested in stock prices. She knows about things through the government before it becomes public news, and she makes decisions about her private wealth based on internal information she gets through the government. That's a straightforward story. probably could clear it up even more than what I had just described. So I'm saying that the Democrats are so stupid for opening this vulnerability up, right? That's all I wanted to say. So good job, Nancy. You keep making that money. I hope it keeps you alive forever. I hope you get to sit in a vat of General Tso's chicken and soak it all up and have no animal noises to distract your brain while you're trying to relax and work on your poetry. I would like to write poetry. I'm a good poet. If I had a love of my life or several, I would be so happy to just hang out in an empty hot tub, write them poetry, check on their Instagrams to see if they're having fun in Italy, because I wouldn't go. It's too far. I don't want to deal with that shit. You kidding me? I can barely handle going to Illinois. I'll go to Wisconsin to relax. You ever been to Wisconsin? It's awesome. It's a nice state. Filled with beautiful people. Oh, here's this thing. So, okay. I told you we're going to try to go quickly here. I do want to just keep rambling, but I got a million tabs. Cenk Uygur goes on the Piers Morgan show. Now, I tune into some of the stuff. I occasionally, I'm making a documentary about the Young Turks since I worked there and since I have issues with the way my employment was conducted, which which compelled myself and others to start a union. I didn't like the fact that I wasn't working full-time as a video editor, classified as an independent contractor, working 40-hour weeks for zero benefits and zero paid days off, zero health insurance. Then after complaining, changed status to part-time worker. They called me a part-time video editor while I was working 40-hour weeks. I have proof of all this. It's in a bunch of articles. There's plenty of videos on this channel here if you want to see. I'm getting closer to finishing the article that I've done. I've been doing some work on that. But I do actually, I'm curious because Cenk has a former worker from his company kind of ringing the bell about his employment practices, because my project sort of boils down to 3 different ethical boundaries that he crossed. That's why I make a big stink about it. One is my employment conditions. You just heard some of it. There's nuances and details there to dig into. The sort of core of the movie is the lie that they told their audience about how the union started. Cenk was running for Congress at the time, which is a really interesting political kind of scenario. The circumstances are just fascinating. If you're just a political junkie in general, you don't necessarily have to be dialed in on the Young Turks online presence or anything. A guy running for Congress was busting a union. Fascinating. Really interesting. Just happened to be at the Young Turks. I happened to be an aspiring filmmaker. It happened to be over the working conditions literally that I lived. So I understood. I had a very interesting POV to this whole thing. I didn't get into the union. I wasn't part of the union because I was laid off 5 weeks before the union came forward. But I was very, very instrumental in the start of the union. That's why I'm claiming that as my story, because I literally there's a lot there. So I just want to be clear that I'm not speaking for TYT union in any way. Besides being instrumental in originating it, helping to originate it, as among other people who had many of their own reasons too, some of which will never come to light, and that's fine. But so the ethical boundaries are the working conditions that drove us to unionize, lying to their audience about why the union started while he was running for Congress. And as part of that lie is the third is just the union busting. The guy did a 2-month-long, really aggressive union busting campaign that withheld raises and bonuses from workers, captive audience meetings, first rejected card check, insisted on a second election, arbitrator supervisors, blah, blah, blah. So they bought themselves time in order to conduct a union busting campaign. It generated 2 NLRB cases. I have one of them right here. Oh, fuck. So there's all kinds of shit going on there, but I do watch some of the stuff that he appears on just in case, maybe Piers Morgan says, so what's up with the union busting? I doubt Piers Morgan's going to take on a labor. Yeah, this is one of the other NLRB things that was generated. Got to put that back. That's probably the most valuable piece of paper I have in this room. And so it's curious, and it's also politics and stuff. And, Piers Morgan knows what he's doing. And so the context of this conversation was about the latest threat to Trump's life at the golf course, where some dude had a gun and was parked up in some bushes. They shot at him and he ran away. He never was close to shooting Trump. I mean, getting into the bushes at a golf course, I guess you could call that close. Fine. But it's not like he took some shots, which is, I'm not trying to make it okay. It's not good. We don't want any of that kind of violence. It's all really bad stuff. So the context of this, though, is sort of Piers Morgan taking this kind of right-wing approach of, hey, don't you think that the Democrats brought us home because they're doing too much, so saying Trump is a threat, isn't it? So they're trying to shift over the responsibility for ginning up violence in this country to the Democrats, saying it's like their fault for using kind of incendiary language such as that, but dismissing the immense amount of violence that is funneled out of the Trump. It's just, there's all these examples, or, saying he'll pay for lawsuits for lawyers if people attack people in the audience, joking around about Nancy Pelosi's husband being attacked, which is a horrifying thing. For all my problems with the Pelosis, I think it's terrible that somebody broke into their house and held the guy captive with a hammer. I mean, just think about the horror of that. In fact, Erik Prince said something really crappy about that during this thing where because he doesn't really talk that much. And he says, well, the guy was a gay lover. It's like that conspiracy lie is such BS. And Cenk pushes back pretty vociferously through a lot of this, actually. He's a bit excitable with, let's just click back here.
Demagogue.
We're super guilty.
Oh, yeah,
I can protect Donald Trump. Ban assault weapons. That'll protect Donald Trump way more than any of, say nice things about him. Now that some lunatic took some shots at him. Here, let me be super clear. If you're on the left, I know the right-wingers love their guns and Second Amendment remedy, and they've been riled up to do violence nonstop. But if you're on the left and you do any violence, you are not one of us. You're a stupid person who does nothing but make...
He's cool with busting unions and denying workers their right to organize, but I agree with the anti-violence comments. I've always respected Cenk for that. At least, he does make it very clear repeatedly that it makes him uncomfortable. He's for like battling Joe Rogan. He wants to get into an MMA thing with Joe Rogan, which I think would be really fun. I mean that's consensual, right? That's very different than the kind of violence that's being discussed here. So like that would be great. I think everybody in the world would love to see a fight like that. I think Joe Rogan's probably smart enough not to bother with it, but it would be kind of a fascinating celebrity MMA. And then I've heard Alex Jones thrown into the mix in terms of a Cenk battle, and that would be also, that seems actually much more likely possible. Still low probability, but possible considering TYT and Alex Jones have a history, and they've been added together. And Cenk and Alex Jones are roughly built comparably, ish or so.
Worthy cause look immoral.
Of course, my fantasy of the MMA matchup would be Doris Kearns Goodwin versus Michael Beschloss. I think you all understand why I would want to see a battle such as that. It would go on for days, honestly. I don't know how, possibly even like centuries. Like when mountains fight in the Rings of Power movies.
With your insanity, never do violence. Is that clear enough?
Or maybe when they constantly hear on the airways people like you and Hillary Clinton.
Do you want to explain that you hire people to work as independent contractors alongside employees, and it motivates them to start a union in which you then lie about their motivations? They said that Nancy Pelosi and his Democratic opponents started the union, that they tricked us into unionizing to hurt his campaign. That's the story. That's the narrative that TUT put out about their own audience. But anyway, back to, all right, we got to find the part where Erik Prince talks. This is really weird, though. Erik Prince is, this guy is...
mercenary and a disgusting guy.
Our country,
Here,
a little more respect and decency.
Yeah, no, he's a mercenary and a disgusting guy, by the way.
Erik Prince is probably personally... I don't know, is it liable to say if he's done? But he was he's a Navy SEAL who's seen a tremendous amount of action, right? In the early days of the Iraq War, he's a founder of Blackwater. So this guy's profited off of massive amounts of the military industrial complex, and I think his clients cover all kinds of nefarious actors all over the world. It doesn't take much Googling to read up on a lot of the atrocities that have his fingerprints on it. So yeah, he's a very violent guy. He's probably pretty dangerous person, and if you were to tango with him, which is what we're kind of getting to. Okay, Piers gives Erik the floor to talk here. Let's see what he says. It's really weird. It's nuts what he does.
The rhetoric and the responsibility of people who are on the airwaves, who are in public life, to dial down the rhetoric.
Look, like the video clip you opened with, there's an enormous amount of apocalyptic language spoken by the left. Saying he must be eliminated, he is Hitler, and that unleashes every left-wing crazy to...
I mean, this guy is incentivized he makes money as a mercenary. He's literally like a warlord type who probably has massive investments in the equipment and all the other sort of operations and logistics costs of military operating. But there's a ton of money in government trained professional killers. That is an incredibly valuable skill. There's a lot of, maybe I should find an app and maybe do it myself. No, but like the former SEAL community and former highly trained military dudes can get all kinds of jobs, not just from like the kind of, it's veteran becomes a cop sort of thing, but in like personal security for the super wealthy, conducting all these kinds of operations. It's really kind of a dark side of our planet, in my opinion. Something that we would love to see abolished ultimately, the conditions for its elimination from our world. And this guy's a highly, and he puts himself out forward. He puts himself publicly as a visible part of this presence. So there's a lot of people who operate in these sorts of spheres that don't like being visible, that don't want to be seen, that don't go on Piers Morgan. All right, sorry, slightly awkward edit there. I had the wrong time code, but first we're going to listen to Erik say the thing I told you he said about Nancy Pelosi's husband, which is, this is not true. This is right-wing nonsense. This is not at all this. And Piers Morgan is a horrible journalist for not calling it out as soon as he says it. He should have. It's not okay. It's really ugly stuff. This completely made up nonsense lie about Nancy Pelosi's husband and the guy who attacked him. The guy was off his rocker and motivated by right-wing media, the right-wing media apparatus.
Nancy Pelosi's husband had an interlude with some bizarre gay lover. Trust me,
he wasn't on the right.
Oh my God, I'm on here with lunatics. I'm on here with lunatics and conspiracy
wasn't on the
theorists.
right.
I can't believe he.
All right, Candace Owens too. All right, so that's the thing that is just like really disgusting. It's not. And then, okay, so let's start with Cenk talking here, and then Erik will pipe up, and that'll be the stuff I've been trying to get to.
How many people did you get killed? Innocent people in Iraq, Erik. How many people did you have mowed down in Iraq, Erik?
Going back to your topic, Piers, perhaps it's time to bring back 19th century behavior, which maybe we had a more civil society then. If people are going to throw all kinds of bombastic language, they do so because they do it without consequence. In the 19th century in the UK, people would call them out for a duel. Doesn't have to be to the death. Could be swords. It could be bugle sticks.
Like, what?
Maybe that would make for a more polite society. I don't know. I'm ready to go there.
You see that? Piers, you see that? Who's the first to threaten violence? Of course, Erik from the right wing.
Yeah, but,
whereas
okay,
I
but
denounce
Cenk,
violence.
Cenk.
I denounce it strongly and loudly.
Like, he says we should go and do what they did in the 19th century and get into and have a fight to settle things. That is, and when you're a highly trained mercenary killer and you've made your career off that, you're a dangerous person. Like, you have that is two chubby guys like me that want to duke it out in a barn somewhere, probably not the same thing. You say, let's settle this in the barn. But this guy says we should do what they did in the 19th century because there needs to be consequences for things that you say. Oh, and by the way, I know how to kill people, and let's go. Like that, it is very threatening. I think Cenk's interpretation is correct. That's just like fucked up.
But
We're going to back it up here.
For a duel.
Back up more.
Did you get killed?
So watch Candace Owens, though, when he says there needs to be consequences, she kind of makes his face like, yeah, like that sort of like, it's unfortunate, but it's true. There's just not enough consequences.
Innocent people in Iraq, Erik.
Skipping ahead 5 seconds.
Going back to your topic, Piers, perhaps it's time to bring back 19th century behavior, which maybe we had a more civil society then. If people are going to.
Yes, it was civil back during the chattel slavery days that he's pining for. We were civil back then. Come on. The violence that flowed out of that society is overwhelming.
Throw all kinds of bombastic language. They do so because they do it without consequence. In the 19th century in the UK,
look at Candace Owens when he says consequence.
People would call him out for.
Going to back up 5. Watch Candace Owens here. Consequence.
They do it without consequence. In the 19th century in the UK,
Sorry, we just got to have consequences for your language. That's scary.
people would call him out for a duel. Doesn't have to be to the death. Could be swords. It could be bugle sticks.
Swords? So he's basically saying that he would fight Cenk with swords right now if they wanted to.
Maybe that would make for a more polite society.
And bugle sticks. What the fuck is a bugle stick? You're probably wondering it yourself if you don't already know. I was like, oh my God, is that like some kind of crazy old weird weapon? It's actually this stuff.
Trainees conduct bugle sticks training in order to build aggressiveness and confidence required to defeat the enemy in close combat.
So it's
using
those big Q-tips you've seen on American Gladiator where they smash each other in the heads with like padded sticks that have big. But like you could certainly hurt someone with something. You could padded weapons can also be damaging. It's obviously a safety thing for sure. But I got punched in the face once at a guy's house when I was like 12. He was probably 14. It was like some friend of my dad's, and with boxing glove. We were farting around. We weren't doing it, but he just he kind of got me pretty good, and it was like it rattles you, dude. I mean, you see boxing; they fuck each other up real bad. Bugle sticks. So I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that these were called bugle sticks, and it's a military combat kind of training thing, so they don't actually hurt each other. They got to save that for the 4-year-olds in Gaza.
Rifle and bayonet. A bugle stick is a heavily padded training weapon used by military personnel for bayonet training since the 1930s or 1940s.
Yeah.
Many trainees have never experienced the realities of interpersonal violence found in close combat, and bugle sticks provide effective but safe full-contact combative training.
Ooh, got him down. Yeah, you got to get used to it. You got to take a little practice to get used to that kind of thing. So yeah, let's just jump ahead a bit, see here. I mean, consensual violence... Humans do this kind of thing a lot. I'm not talking about that. But when you're a mercenary who says that we should do 19th century behavior that'll keep people civil because there should be consequence for words, and you bring up swords. Okay, music. All right, it's probably kind of fun sometimes in the right scenario, Maybe when I was a younger man, I might have bugle sacked with somebody. So all right. Speaking of Trump and Harris, this goes back. I'm just going to go through this because I have the tabs open. Kamala Harris has said she will debate Trump again. She agreed to a CNN debate here on October 23rd. I'm excited about the Tim Walz, J.D. Vance debate next week. Whatever, I don't know the date, but the first week of October, one of those. And so here's, let's just click play.
It wouldn't be 2024 without yet another debate over debates. Over the weekend, Vice President Harris accepted a CNN invitation to debate Donald Trump in Atlanta on October 23rd. The setup would mirror the Trump-Biden debate from June.
Join me on the debate stage. Let's have another debate. There's more to talk about, and the voters of America deserve to hear the conversations that I think we should be having on substance, on issues, on policies. What's your plan? What's my plan? And we should have another one before Election Day.
While Harris pushes for a second showdown, Trump is telling his rally crowds it's too late.
The problem with another debate is that it's just too late. Voting has already started. She's done one debate. I've done two. It's too late to do another. I'd love to in many ways, but it's too late. The voting is cast. The voters are out there immediately.
He's a coward. That's all coward. That's backing down. I'm not particularly fond of the optics horse race coward. Are you looking good or bad? I think wars and how many millions of people throughout history have had their lives cut short early because some fucking leader of a country didn't want to look weak, wanted to look tough, had to save face because these systems are run by toddlers. All these rich people we're supposed to look up to in their suits, these boring men, boring women in their expensive watches and brooches. I'm thinking of what's her face, lady that helped kill 500,000 children. The one. There's so many. Damn, the name's escaping me. But so this is kind of what that is. But in this debate thing, Trump comes off the first debate with Kamala, and she whooped his ass. She did so much better than he did in that sense. I wish they did podcasts. I literally think they should. Why would that be any weird compared to them standing at a podium in some sort of weird manufactured control setting with some professional media, corporate media types, Dana Bash, Jake Tapper types, the Kamala Harris and Trump debate was better moderated, I would say, than the Biden Trump debate. But do a podcast, 3 hours of talking. Maybe have someone there to mediate if it gets hot, but let's see it. Maybe do 2 podcasts. A conversation that's recorded for people to listen to. You call it a podcast or call it a show, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That would be a way to kind of let Americans see who these people are. Much less controlled. See what kind of conversation can be had. You might need some structure, but yeah, I think that's a great idea. I say a lot of crazy shit on this show. That's probably the most reasonable thing that you've ever heard me say. Trump wants to act like this is the same clip.
And they would just announced a little while ago, as I was coming off the plane, they would like to do another debate.
Boo. No, don't go near him. And I like that he bragged about how he won how he won it. God damn it, my fucking desk tray thing, it keeps popping off.
Although, good entertainment value. A lot of people say, do it, it's great entertainment.
Good ratings.
I've already done 2. One with Crooked Joe Biden at CNN, and the other one with Kamala on ABC. CNN was very fair, I thought. Joe was driven.
CNN was fair because they didn't do any fact checking at all. Dana Bash and Jake Tapper, both of whom are contributing to the genocide via their lies about Rashida Tlaib lately. That's been in the news. Yeah, just a side note, just how this genocide is only possible with the support of the information protectors of the concentric circles of genocide. Means you also have to have media and misinformation people, and the corporate media in America does that exactly with Jake Tapper, Dana Bash especially.
Out of the race. It was a coup, by the way, but he was driven out of the race. And they've been widely criticized by the radical left lunatic.
Okay, well, there's one of these where he says that the crowd went wild at his. This is Aaron Rupar's Twitter, where he posts a bunch of clips and stuff. He's he's a Democrat, kind of mainstream Biden kind of. He gets dragged by the left quite a bit for all that, but he puts out all these clips, so people use his stuff constantly. Here, let's just listen. Trump on his granddaughter shows how evil life is.
We also have, and I alluded to it, a very important member of my family, far more important than Eric or Laura. And her name is Carolina. And she's beautiful, and she's sweet, and she doesn't know how evil life is. She hasn't experienced it yet, but she does know how great life is. And we want to make life great for everybody here.
Yeah, sure. Okay, fine. He's talking about his screen. He calls it. All right. Yeah, that's goofy. Whatever. So Trump's going to back out of the debate because he's a coward. He doesn't want to do it against Kamala. So, all right, whatever. I don't know why. All right, keep going. I'm going to try to get through these quickly. This is the sheriff in Kentucky. I have yet to jump on the Trillbillies. One of them was their podcaster people, hopefully future friends of the show. Would love to talk to them someday. I've been listening to their show quite a bit over the years, off and on, but more on than off, I'd say. Not that I decide to be off. I just have my podcast diet widely ranges, and I'm always I try new shows fairly frequently, fairly regularly, and so it sort of bubbles around a little bit as time goes on, which is normal. Why am I trying to explain that? But this is in their county, and they often cover and talk about stuff that goes on in where they live, which is right here. Letcher County. Letcher County is a county located in the U.S. state of Kentucky. As of the 2020 census, the population was 21,548. Its county seat is Whitesburg. It was created in 1842 from Harlan and Perry counties and named for Robert P. Letcher, governor of Kentucky from 1840 to 1844. Isn't that nice? See, look, there it is, outlined in red. Looks like they're south of Cincinnati, southeast of Cincinnati, and northwest of Charlotte. Pretty much directly between those two fine American cities. What happened? Some crazy stuff went down. This is some serious HBO, high-profile television type story here, but it's real. but I'm saying maybe eventually.
All right, we have some breaking new developments here today after a district judge was shot and killed inside of a courthouse.
Such a strange story. Turns out he was allegedly shot by the sheriff. Fox 31's Talia Cunningham at the breaking news desk with what we've just learned. Talia.
Yeah, Jeremy, Erica, good evening. Well, this happened this afternoon in Letcher County. This is in Kentucky. That's in the southeast part of the state. That's a small community with about 21,000 people. Now, we're told the judge was killed inside of his own chambers at the courthouse today. And as you guys mentioned, the county sheriff was cuffed and then booked, now facing first-degree murder. The judge was 54-year-old Kevin Mullins, a local district judge. You see him on the left side of your screen in this picture, obtained by Fox News. And then on the right is County Sheriff Sean Steins, who is 43 years old.
So the sheriff picture, we could comment on the judge's appearance as well, but the sheriff is sitting in front of a desk with like a whole bunch of money, what looks to be hypodermic needles and little baggies. This must be one of those drug, we nabbed him kind of sheriff photos that they love to post. The police departments love putting up their pictures of all the piles of drugs that they get. Doing a great job there, boys. Really stopping the problem, really fixing the thing. You guys know it's all bullshit. It's just an excuse to fund a violent interventional society that uses the drug illegalization as an excuse to harm and harass regular people throughout the world. That's exactly the reason why the war on drugs began. God damn it. Now I got to get the quote. Here's John Ehrlichman, assistant to the president for domestic affairs under President Richard Nixon. Quoted, "You want to know what this war on drugs was really all about? The Nixon campaign in '68 and the Nixon White House after that had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but by getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the war, about the drugs? Of course we did. Like the immoral. This is the origination of the war on drugs. Should people be protected and have government involvement in addiction and in medical problems and stuff like that, and maybe the mental health issues that underpin addiction? I think yes, very good argument for that. But sending the descendants of slave patrols to come and bust down doors and it creates these black markets, and it's like this thing here has created such horror in the mass incarceration regime of America, and so many lives just utterly destroyed by the harm caused by making drugs illegal and enforcing them in this sense. It's utter depravity, and we got to stop it. And yet we still have these, police systems and these where they're more than happy to fund cops to, do exactly what this guy wanted them to do, what the Nixon administration was trying to do. It empowers government violence goons to commit horrifying acts against their own people. I gotta turn this light off. My head's starting to So anyway, moving it on though, there's some stuff went down between this whole story. It gets kind of messy and kind of scary and gross. So here's a tweet from Colin Rugg. What's this guy's deal? Who is co-owner of Trending Politics and okay, I'm not really sure, but the Kentucky sheriff who shot a local judge in his chambers had exchanged cell phones just moments before taking the judge's life. Sort of weird. Like what? They gave each other their, like, according to the Mountain Eagle, District Judge Kevin Mullins and Sheriff Mickey Steins exchanged phones. When Steins was apparently unhappy with what he found, he opened fire on the judge. Steins was previously Mullins' bailiff before he became sheriff in 2018. So they had a history. The two had lunch together just hours before the incident. Sheriff Steins later went to the courthouse to speak with Mullins. They then went to the judge's office where they continued their conversation. A short conversation took place before the sheriff got up and locked the door. Both men took out their cell phones and handed them to each other. Steins then got up and pulled out his gun, walked around the desk, and repeatedly shot Mullins, who passed. Okay, that's a bit strange phrasing. It's unclear what the argument was about, but an unconfirmed report claims the sheriff found out the judge had raped his daughter. There's an asterisk instead of the A there because of the algorithm and stuff. So, yeah. Wow. Let's see what this video is.
Okay. As of right now, Kentucky State Police is still ongoing in the investigation of the shooting that took place here in Letcher County earlier this date.
Okay, imagine having that guy just asking you what you're up to. You have to explain yourself to some guy like that. Jesus. Look at all three of these dudes. So, I mean, how does he know? I mean, the only source of this information could either be a camera, which I doubt there's a running camera in the judge's chambers, or the cop himself, the guy who killed the judge. Here's a CBS story. A sheriff who allegedly shot and killed a rural Kentucky judge in his courthouse chambers was accused in a federal lawsuit of failing to investigate allegations that one of his deputies repeatedly sexually abused a woman in the same judge's chambers. In that room, then. Click on the story. CBS News. Kentucky sheriff who allegedly killed judge faced allegations of ignoring deputies' abuse of woman in his chamber. So the sheriff ignored stuff, but the judge was doing some stuff. Right. The sheriff who allegedly shot and killed a rural Kentucky judge in his courthouse chambers was accused in a federal lawsuit of failing to investigate allegations that one of his deputies repeatedly sexually abused a woman in the same judge's chambers. Letcher County Sheriff Sean M. Steins has been charged with murder in the first degree in Thursday's shooting. The preliminary investigation indicates that Steins, 43, shot District Judge Kevin Mullins multiple times following an argument inside the courthouse, according to Kentucky State Police. Mullins, 54, it's fucking autoplay things. Mullins, 54, who held the judgeship for 15 years, died at the scene, and Steins surrendered without incident. Just what the two men were arguing about wasn't immediately made clear. Yeah. Well, there's probably more info out there as of now, so get to your, go to Bing, look it up. Whenever I Google anything, I skip right past that AI result. I find that so annoying. All right, next story. Let's see. Oh, never mind. More of this. Boop, boop, boop.
We ride our video monitors to Kentucky, and that's a mugshot. A local sheriff you see right there is behind bars right now, accused of shooting and killing a judge inside that judge's chambers. CBS News correspondent Omar Villafranca joins us now. Omar, that sheriff is now facing murder charges. What a story.
That's right, and let me kind of set the scene here. This happened in Whitesburg, Kentucky, which is about 145 miles southeast of Louisville. Letcher County is where it happened, and the Letcher County Sheriff is Sean Steins. That's the mugshot you saw there. He's charged with first-degree murder after investigators say he shot and killed Judge Kevin Mullins. Now, the local paper there, the small paper, the Mountain Eagle, says the sheriff walked into the courthouse and then into the judge's office and actually told the judge's staff he needed to speak with the judge privately, so the two went into his chambers and then closed the door. The paper says that's when people heard gunshots. And they also mentioned that the sheriff walked out with his hands up and was arrested. The judge was shot multiple times, and responders tried to save him, but he died. Now, here's the thing. We don't know a motive yet. There are a lot of rumors swirling, especially in a small town, but nothing concrete. But we do know that based on court paperwork, there was a 2022 case in which a woman sued, saying a local deputy coerced her into sex acts in exchange for leniency on her punishment, and those acts took place in Judge Mullins' court. Now, Sheriff Steins, we want to be clear here, was not named in that suit as someone who was part of the assaults, but he did fire that deputy and was actually deposed earlier this week. So right now we don't know a motive. A lot of things swirling around. There's an arraignment next.
It's hard to say if that deputy thing is related to the other thing about the guy's daughter, right? It still seem to be separate, probably all interconnected, these small towns. I don't have went the wrong direction. Here's sheriff charged. Let's see what this lady says. 1 minute 16.
A small community in eastern Kentucky is in shock this morning after a county judge was shot to death in his own courthouse yesterday. And the accused gunman is the county sheriff. Charlie DeMar has more now on the shooting that seemed to happen without warning.
Letcher County Courthouse, that shot fired.
Around 3 p.m. yesterday, police swarmed the Letcher County Courthouse in Whitesburg, Kentucky, following a 911 call reporting shots fired. Authorities say inside 54-year-old District Judge Kevin Mullins had been fatally shot.
multiple law enforcement agencies from around the area, along with emergency services, responded to the area and located District Judge Kevin Mullins with several gunshot wounds. Life-saving measures were taken, however, were unsuccessful.
Police arrested Letcher County Sheriff Sean Steins, who allegedly shot and killed Mullins following an argument inside the courthouse. Steins has been charged with first-degree murder.
We know that it was an argument between the two that led up, but what exactly transpired prior to the shots being fired, still things that we're trying to get answers to.
Gonna get some transpired information. Cops love the word transpired. Well, that's fucked up. That's crazy. There's probably more details that I just haven't looked up yet, so sorry about that. That's just terrible podcasting. Let's keep it going. Rings of Power is out. There's a new episode tonight, so I'm looking forward to that. You guys having fun with Rings of Power? Let me know. I have so many thoughts about that stuff. All right, so Eric Adams. Oh, boy. Boy, did this guy find himself in the hot seat. Saw his appearance on The Breakfast Club a few months back with Olayemi Olurinati. She's got a really good YouTube channel. Like her a lot. Introduced to her through the Leftist Mafia on YouTube. Very smart. I could tell that she's got a big brain, big smart brain. I could just feel the, above the other smart people who are on the Leftist Mafia. I just think Olayemi's so awesome. I've seen a bunch of her stuff, and so she's doing really good work. And she appeared with Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club. It's a pretty famous radio show. I hear about it sometimes. I've never tuned in. I think it's on satellite. I don't actually have any idea, but they're super huge. At the same time with Eric Adams, and it's a fascinating thing. Anyway, a whole bunch of people in this guy's orbit have been taken down. He's got a this guy's like a total clown, but he's got this kind of like a swagger about him that is kind of slimy in a disarmingly confident kind of way. He's a former police officer, and he's been pumping money into the police in New York, which has like the budget. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's like a military, but it's like bigger than the militaries of most countries. The New York City Police Department, they're flooding the subways with cops who are all just collecting overtime. They canceled Sunday library in the city, like a city closing down libraries so that they could pay police giant sums of money. Like it's very lucrative to be a state violence officer. And this is just one of the most corrupt guys in the history of humanity. And that's a little ridiculous, but he's been charged with bribes. Anyway, we got some news stories here to watch. Let's just see what people say. New York City Mayor Eric Adams indicted on federal charges. According to the New York Times, this is MSNBC reporting.
We have some breaking news this evening to bring you tonight involving the mayor of America's largest city, this one. The New York Times is reporting tonight that New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on federal charges. NBC News has not independently verified that report, and the Times reports that those charges remain sealed as of this evening. So we do not know what those charges are and what they include or do not include. Joining me now is Joyce Vance, former U.S. attorney and an MSNBC legal analyst. Joyce, just to reiterate what we have now, NBC News can report that New York City Mayor Eric Adams is expected to face federal charges by prosecutors out of the Southern District of New York, and those charges could come as soon as tomorrow, according to two sources familiar with the matter.
Let Joyce talk.
Just your top line reaction first to the fact that the feds are charging potentially, reportedly, the mayor of New York City. If that is, in fact, what happens, Eric Adams will become the first mayor in New York City history to be charged while in office. Your thoughts?
So I think this looks like a classic federal public corruption investigation. Unfortunately, the Justice Department has repeatedly been in the business of indicting mayors who are involved in corruption. That doesn't come as a surprise, I don't think, to anyone. There have been a number of investigations here.
Joyce, I'm going to let you turn your phone off if you need to.
I'm going to do it magically.
It happens.
Oh, my God.
It happens.
Hey, they handled it well.
Just in terms of, you're talking about a classic.
What if she had like robot android servants and like they get into a fight, like C-3PO's grandparents, and that C-3PO gets into a war fight? That'd be fun. Hopefully there'll be comedies about the impending humanoid robots that will take over us all.
Corruption investigation.
All right, let's see what the next one is. I got a few more bookmarks here. Okay, so Eric Adams got indicted. This is just to remind you who he is, and I think we'll get back to some of the indictment stuff. I hope you're not tuning into me for like your accurate news. I mean, let me rephrase that. I hope I shouldn't be your source of news as far as like your first go. You can trust that I'm operating in good faith to try to get you accurate information, and I tend to lean into what I'm ignorant about, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously I'm not like, I shouldn't be like a news show. If you're already into this, it's not here for but it's me reacting to what's happening here with the internet. I'm basically just ingesting the internet via Twitter and YouTube and articles, and then barfing it into my microphone. So, yeah, it's a bit scattered though anyway, but yeah, so we'll get back to some of the details and stuff. You probably already know more about it than what I'm saying, is what I'm kind of thinking. That's the seed of that thought. This is very funny though, the way Eric Adams described New York. He says the craziest things. So he's been making, he appears on the various shows I watch and the stuff that I kind of ingest over the last couple years. But this one is really funny. I don't think I've only read it. So let's hear what he says.
When you look at the totality of the year, if you had to describe it, and it's tough to do, in one word, what would that word be, and tell me why?
New York. This is a place where every day you wake up, you could experience everything from a plane crashing into our trade center to a person who's celebrating a new business that's open. This is a very, very complicated city, and that's why it's the greatest city on the globe.
Oh yeah, you can wake up and see a plane and crash into a building, or maybe go buy a hot dog from somebody at a car with a. What the fuck kind of answer is that?
Totality of the
Skipping
year.
ahead.
Place where every day you wake up, you could experience everything from a plane crashing into our trade center to a person who's celebrating a new business that's open. This is a very, very
Nailed it. Every day you can wake up and experience a fucking nuts.
Back with us.
All right, more about Eric Adams' indictment.
Rosenberg. Chuck, were you struck by anything that the mayor said during his comments?
Well, several things, Jose. First and foremost, his lawyers cannot possibly want him out there talking to the press, commenting on the evidence, explaining what he knows and what he doesn't know, taking responsibility for, being the main point of contact for all city agencies. You know who else is listening to his press conference, Jose? The prosecutors. And anything that Mr. Adams says publicly, anything he talks about, all of that could be used as evidence against him if there's ever a trial in this matter.
Look at his hat. So, Mayor Adams is wearing a hat that says Mayor Adams on his hat. That's funny. So, yeah, this wasn't much of a, this is like the middle of a conversation on this MSNBC clip here, but they did have a press conference outdoors, and I think I have a clip of what happened at that, which big mistake to do it outdoors, it seems to be. But let's just hear what this guy says. We are doing a podcast. We're supposed to listen to humans talk, right? That's the whole deal here.
Terrible idea for him to be doing that. Second, and Lisa Rubin alluded to this earlier, and I think she's right. There are almost always cooperators in this case. I don't know exactly who they are, and I don't know exactly what they said. That will be, that story will be told in the months to come. But a case like this is not built solely on documents, although documents will have an important role. Text messages and emails and cell phone data and financial transactions are always important to prosecutors. The witnesses are the ones who put the meat on the bones. And so you will have cooperators and you will have people who are able to flesh out the details.
Yeah, we get it. Cooperators.
MSNBC.
All right, jumping ahead.
What does that mean?
Backing up 10 seconds.
This 57-page indictment.
Okay, so we got some details about the indictment. So let's see if he gives us a little bit of a summary.
Mr. Adams is certainly presumed guilty. And while he is entitled to put the government to its test at trial, this indictment is not just serious, but it's extraordinarily well and carefully constructed.
And as we await, we're told about a minute and a half, that news conference from SDNY, and what they will be bringing us a number of details on.
So
to bring back.
I'm just going to read what's on the screen here. You can kind of see it. 2016, this is like a kind of a chart, sort of a kind of a grid, a spreadsheet sort of chart. So year 2016, India via Turkey benefits column, free upgrade to business class 4-2 on round trip from New York to India, value of $12,000, undisclosed. 2017, France, Turkey, China. I can't see the top of that column. It must be country. It says some, benefit Free business class tickets for 3 on round trip from New York to France, Turkey, and China. Heavily discounted stay in Bentley Suite of St. Regis, Istanbul. $41,000 undisclosed. I just bought tickets to go home, fucking fly home to Chicago, and it's $100 to get the upgraded seat for the longer, to get the bulkhead where if it could have. I have long legs, man. Airplanes are rough on I'm just tall enough to squeeze into it. Okay, it's okay. I'm used to, I don't travel a lot. I would have a hard, but anyway, business class. All right, so the third column, 2017, China via Turkey, free business class tickets for 2 on round trip from New York to China, $16,000. Hungary, 2018, Hungary via Turkey, free upgrade to business class for 2, $12,000. And now this indictment is like 50 something pages, and I've seen the figure 10 million something floating around. So these business expenses or these free upgrades you got are very valuable, but they seem to be small potatoes compared to some of the bigger stuff that's going to come out. So stay tuned. We'll learn more, but let's just play it a little bit more here.
Frank Figliuzzi, former FBI Assistant Director for Counterintelligence and an MSNBC National.
No, that's a better shot. I should have.
Security analyst. Frank, when Chuck talks about the construction of these processes, these, in this case, this 57-page indictment, what kind of construction does that mean? What does that mean?
So, look, both Chuck and Lisa have raised the specter of cooperators, and it's been long established within the corridors of the FBI that you make a successful public corruption case with 2 things, one or both of 2 things, cooperators and or wiretaps. So a paper trail is great, phone records are great, the mayor was at this restaurant with this guy at this time, all great and necessary, but until you have cooperators who are in the room and or a wiretap and or an undercover agent, and again,
camera zoom in, focus on the microphone, wait for the subject to approach. All right, I just want to get a little info about the indictment itself. I just want the kind of bullet points of the big charges. I hope that's what they get to in this video, and then we're gonna watch a little bit more from Erik's past a little bit and a couple other Twitter ones that I've got close up. So we're actually going to close out this podcast fairly quickly.
Eric Adams has been indicted on 5 federal charges.
That's right. You watch this unfold live today on CBS News.
That guy is handsome. Look at that guy. Holy moly. Is the robot revolution already here?
News 24/7, and those
doesn't he look like Raised by Wolves? Did you ever see Raised by Wolves? Those people are all like androids or something, and it was a cool show.
Charges include bribery, wire fraud, and soliciting illegal foreign campaign donations. The indictment was unsealed just hours ago. The Democrat is alleged to have received illegal campaign contributions from the government of Turkey. Mayor Adams spoke to reporters shortly after the indictment was made public and denies any wrongdoing.
It's an unfortunate day, and it's a painful day. But inside of all of that, it's a day where we will finally reveal why for 10 months I have gone through this. And I look forward to defending myself and defending the people of this city.
U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of
the people of the city should all get to go on those fancy flights to Istanbul. You just get like 10 at a time. All of New York.
Damian Williams
even the rats
outlined the charges earlier today, and he alleged that Adams's conduct went on and actually began years earlier.
Year after year after year, he kept the public in the dark. He told the public he received no gifts, even though he was secretly being showered with them. We allege that Adams accepted these benefits knowing that they were given to him because of his position. And in exchange for some of those improper benefits, he intervened in the New York City Fire Department's inspection process for a building owned and operated by the Turkish government, allowing it to open even though it had not passed the fire inspection.
That's not cool. We don't like that, right? We want our buildings to pass fire department inspections, not the mayor doing favors for foreign governments so they get their building opened earlier. Not cool, Erik. Say you're sorry.
Have this new information for you. Judge Dale Ho has been randomly assigned this case. President Biden appointed the former ACLU director to the bench. The Senate confirmed him last year. Senate Majority Leader and New York Senator Chuck Schumer pushed for his nomination.
For more on this, Anna Schechter joined us here in Studio 57. She is a CBS News senior coordinating producer for crime and public safety. Anna, you have been poring over the documents. We should note again that there is a presumption of innocence until proven guilty. Walk us through the charges. How serious are these allegations?
Well, they are all very serious. You have 5 charges.
What if she's
and
like, they're not very serious. He's retreated to his candy factory where he's doing cartwheels for children touring the factory. Will all the children survive? We have no idea.
The narrative going back to 2016, even earlier 2015, when he was the Brooklyn borough president, developing relationships with people close to the Turkish government. And over time, you read this narrative of this flow of not just campaign donations, illegal campaign donations to his mayoral campaign, but also flights to Turkey, flights to France, elsewhere.
Bribery, wire fraud, solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national, conspiracy to commit wire fraud and to receive foreign campaign contributions. When are they going to get Clarence Thomas for crossing ethical lines with his receiving all kinds of undisclosed undisclosed gifts from hyper billionaires? This billionaire guy like bought his mom a house, and this guy's not. And Eric Adams is getting arrested, and possibly detained and imprisoned. I wonder if he's going to end up at Rikers. There'd be some justice to that, probably. Although I don't think anybody, even scoundrels like Eric Adams, don't deserve to be in the kind of punishment and the utter disgusting depravity that exists inside America's prisons. He's a rich, powerful guy. He'll probably get some kind of protective treatment in these places, if at all. But anyway, Clarence Thomas's stuff. It's been documented over the last several years. ProPublica has done some work on it, and you've been seeing it all over the place, I'm sure. A guy bought his mama a house. He should buy everybody in New York's mama a house. Okay.
Where in the world upgrades, suites, expensive suites in Istanbul, for example, and all of this, they were working him with the expectation that they would get something in return, and what they were getting was that consulate building and that quick crunch time decision to approve this building, even though it hadn't passed the fire inspection.
Now, what was fascinating about watching this unfold live this morning is we didn't know if the indictment would be sealed or unsealed. It's right here. It's unsealed. We can pour through the details. It's very specific. Mayor Adams spoke to the press and gave a general denial, saying he didn't, take money. He did not violate campaign finance laws. And yet, he's not appeared in a courtroom to do so. We don't know if that trial, I think, will even happen or begin today. Do we know if he will be arrested? He is the sitting mayor of the country's largest city. So how is this expected to play out?
We're in this weird limbo, but we do expect to see him appear in court early next week. That's what our sources are.
Appear is funny. I pictured like a fog assembling, like, oh my God, he's just appeared.
Telling us. And so we expect to see him. You saw him earlier today in front of Gracie Mansion at that presser. And we had a team down there, down in front of the federal courthouse building. But he never showed up today. His lawyer said he has not been arrested and he will vigorously fight these charges. He painted himself as a victim of as a target.
Victim. All right. So let me just check the Twitters real fast here. We'll finish with the police one thing. Here's a Matt Binder tweet. You better believe this Eric Adams quote exists, says Matt Binder. Play.
New York City is the Istanbul of America. New York City.
Okay, good. Thank you, sir. Joshua P. Hill. Holy shit, he writes, quote, your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black people in the city. Eric Adams press conference being righteously disrupted right now. I jumped through that quote because I wanted you to hear it, not just hear me read it. So this is from when he did this press conference, and they were under this big, outdoor tarp tent type, cover tent thingy because it was raining, and so it all squished underneath it. Like, don't do it outside, man. It's raining. Got to be somewhere indoors you could move. All these buildings have vestibules, right? Foyers. Anyway, let's hear him get yelled at while he's outside.
This is not a black thing. This is a you thing. This is a you thing.
This is not a black thing. This is a you thing. Someone with sounds like a megaphone type thing is screaming.
This is not a black thing. Your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black
This is his press conference to address being indicted on bribery. He's just getting fucking hounded by somebody. You're a disgrace.
Your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black people in this city. The things that you have done are unconscionable. You
Look at the tent. With these awkward posts, sort of scissor, like a metal post things that hold up a tent that are like poking down. It just looks so bad.
Our streets are dirty. Our children are harassed by the police. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You can shush me all you want, but the people are with us. And this is not.
I wonder who that is. Whoever that is. I mean, whoever that is got up that morning, this morning, and was like, I got to go down there and do something. And hey, now he's on my podcast. Well done, sir. Goal achieved. Not that his goal is to get on the Winners and Losers show. I mean, I know. We don't have that kind of pull, but it does feel like this guy's, whatever his intention was, to get down there with the megaphone and be a annoyance and or make some sort of appointment statement like this. Clearly, very nicely executed. You did great job there. David Dayen, frequent guest on the Majority Report with Sam Cedar and Emma Vigland, says the ultimate Eric Adams thing is that the feds have this message. So he's referencing, I don't know what, 27 dot, if that's a chapter, paragraph, I don't know, whatever. Eric Adams, all caps, the defendant, continued to conceal the benefits he received from foreign nationals seeking to gain influence over him. Adams did not report any of the 2019 gifts he received from the airline manager or the promoter on his annual disclosure form. In addition, in March 2019, while exchanging text messages to plan another possible trip to Turkey in which the airline manager would arrange travel for Adams, the Adams staffer texted Adams, quote, "To be on the safe side, please delete all messages you send me." Adams responded, "Always do." Delete harder. You didn't delete enough, man. Because it's on the Winners and Losers podcast. You didn't delete it. This is the thing about digital stuff, man. Like, just think about, not even relating to Eric Adams, but like, we live in this world where all communication is written down and recorded forever. Does anything ever really get deleted? Just the amount of information recording that happens. I mean, think about being a kid with a phone, texting your parents. Kids get phones because they got to keep in touch with their family. But, there's like those reasons. But also, those all kinds of crazy stuff goes between people, between their phones. At all ages of life, too. We're all nuts about it. We're all goofy. And I think there's something really problematic about just the fact that, let's say if I had started dating somebody 15 years ago and we stayed dating the whole time or married, I don't know, whatever. We would have, most of our communication would be written down, assuming we were only texting. Even if we're in the same room with each other, we'd be texting. No, I'm just saying, in the past, none of this. Answering machines with magnetic tape, little tiny tape cassettes. I think that's what we should go back to. Go back beyond that, way past that. Telephones. Nobody was recording a telephone. You had to have all kinds of weird equipment to make a telephone recording. And then you go, why at the beginning of the telephones? You had to call up and some lady, some nosy person, an operator, you'd tell them which house in your area, and she would unplug something. Okay, hold please. But she's listening. She can listen to every single thing anybody says. Talk about power. That's like the 50s or something. But you go back past that. Letters. Writing letters. People writing letters, sending out stuff. Look, like the letter I got sent about the Young Turks Union situation. Okay, letters are written down, but most of the communication is not being done like that. I actually do miss letters. I think writing letters back and forth is quite a delightful kind of, I think that would be a fun and novel experiment and activity to do. But think of all the corruption that was enabled by the fact that this stuff wasn't all written down. Where you're got dudes reading podcast, quoting stuff on their podcast where you're telling someone to delete your messages, and then the guy that's in trouble, who's in the hot seat, says, yes, I always do. I always do delete my messages, he says. That's so funny. Well done, David. I'm going to retweet it. Oh yeah, this is hilarious. We'll watch this, then we'll jump over to the funny one where Eric Adams teaches people how to look for weapons and drugs in their children's bedrooms. The last thing Eric Adams saw before they put the cuffs on him tweets, Bailey Carlin. This had gone out a while back, this video here, but the NYPD, you know, you got a city full of struggling people, and we've got homeless folks, and we got people with who live on the streets, and people who have difficulty accessing enough food, and we have all sorts of reasons why we should be like properly using our resources. And even in a perfect system, it might not ever be 100% efficient, to use a word, meaning like inevitably in any large scale system with multiple levels of accountability, or at least like, you know, the government systems are pretty complex usually, unfortunately. Even in that case, it might not reach pure, you know, smart use. But this is among the worst abuses of that, unless you believe in the power of dance. Look at them. So these are all cops, I'm guessing. It'd be weird if they weren't. So it's NYPD. It's a bunch of ladies wearing, they do have different numbers at least. But they have like basketball sort of jerseys on that say NYPD. And they're in some sort of TV studio space. Wearing knee pads, kind of dance clothes, black shoes. All right, are coordinated. Oh. Is that on? Oh yeah. Inspiring. Go get those drugs. Go impose the totalitarian nightmare on your citizens. This is what tax. Instead of opening the libraries, they're doing shit like this. I like it. It gets the cardio going. You know, get those endorphins pumping. Go get a large green smoothie, and you're doing good. Thanks. Thank you there. So here's Eric Adams searching through a room. I'm just going to start, but it's 4 minutes. We'll find the funnier bits later on. I think he kind of rambles at the beginning.
My house. I realized.
Back up.
When a person was shot, doors from my house, I realized how important my crusade is of removing illegal handguns off the streets of New York.
Thank you, sir. 13 years ago. So this is New York State Senator teaches parents how to properly spy on their children. on the New York Daily News. 205,000 views.
Hi, I'm New York State Senator Erik Adams. And for 22 years, I wore a bulletproof vest and stood on the street corner.
What an awkward shot where he's just standing there like holding... It's all washed out. It's a white. It's like a bright, but the camera white balance is pretty bad here. And it looks like they're out in the sun. And it just looks like he's holding... It could be just a big white garbage bag for all I can tell, but it does kind of have a little bit of
vest and stood on the street corners and protected children and families in the city of New York. I'm asking you to join me in this crusade of removing illegal handguns.
He's on a crusade. He's got that real deep New York accent, doesn't he? So here he's indoors.
Show here is to empower parents on how to search a room inside their home. It's imperative that you should know what's inside your household. And no one can state that you can't search a room in your own home. You write the Constitution. There are no First Amendment rights inside your household. It is your obligation and responsibility not only to protect
there are no First Amendment rights inside your house?
Your household. It is your Constitution. There are no First Amendment rights inside your household.
Is that true? I mean, things happen inside people's homes that are probably in violation of the Constitution fairly regularly. There are no first, but I don't think that the right. Yeah, okay, interesting. That's a funny way. But he's basically saying no one has a right to not have their shit looked through, especially if they're your kids. This is actually kind of speaking to a very large conversation about children's rights and whether, you know, parents and stuff. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I have all the answers precisely to that, but I don't think we do a great job keeping our kids safe and healthy in our society. We should do that first, billionaires second. Or just do that. No billionaires. Save for kids.
Your obligation and
So let's jump ahead.
So you'll be used to going through the room to look at.
So he's showing you how to look around the room. What is it? Oh, that's the next video thing. That's what keeps popping up. What is it anyway? Oh, that's Wisecrack. I've been watching Wisecrack lately. That's an interesting channel. I hadn't really dialed in on that before. They've got some good stuff, good video essays, explainer type things. I'm kind of enjoying Wisecrack. Shout out to Wisecrack. Friends of the show, maybe eventually. I would actually love to work for a place like that. Okay, all right. So he's standing in front of a whole bunch of shelves, and he's going to give us some instructionals.
The various items in the room. You can look in the jewelry box. A jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding. For instance, a gun could be hidden. A small caliber weapon could be hidden.
Pull a gun out of a box. It's like a flower box. Like it's floral kind of boxy, like a pattern on the
box. Look at the.
He put it back. You put the gun back in the box, Eric. Better charge him with that crime, too. Putting a gun in a child's jewelry box.
Various colognes and perfumes and photos and pictures. You should always, when your child brings in his popular knapsack with many different locations, look through.
Does your child have a popular knapsack with many different locations, everybody? Well, look through them. There's no First Amendment in that knapsack.
To see what exactly is your child carrying in addition to a book. Something simple as a crack pipe, a used crack pipe. Could he have found
Why
it
did
on the
he
street?
pull it out so easily? He pulled out a crack pipe.
A book. Something simple as a crack pipe, a used crack pipe. Could he have found it on the street? That's quite possible. But this is a discussion piece where you should start speaking with him.
That's right. You find, in addition to a book, a found crack pipe, and you start discussing it with your child.
Find out what it
If your child reaches for the jewelry box, you better get down. Meaning get down on the floor. Don't start dancing. Leave that to the NYPD ladies.
What's he doing with it? And the whole use of drugs. This invokes conversations.
Thank you, Eric.
Look at picture frames and behind them, cameras. Try to determine what's taking place. Behind a picture frame, you can find bullets. What does that mean to find bullets?
What did he find? He picked up a picture and then he picked up a bullet that was down. I think this is like watching like a 90s video game where like you like look through a couple of different like I don't know. This feels very.
Is carrying a gun? No. Where there's smoke, there's possible fire. Where there's a bullet, there's possibly a gun.
Fair, yeah, that's true. There, I mean, there's a gun in the jewelry box, dude. He's got that. So your kids might be putting bullets, loose bullets, behind their picture frames. And when he said, I thought he said cameras, but he tapped these things that look like candles. I think he said candles.
You should engage in the conversation and find out what are they doing with the item. And this.
Are you smoking the bullet in the crack pipe, son or daughter? Is that what's happening? Are you using the gun to light your crack pipe bullet smoker?
Empowers the parents.
In your knapsack with multiple locations?
Look at all the items inside the room and feel around and see what's the possibility. Something simple as a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs. Run your hands over the pillow.
Did he just pick up a doll by the face and put drugs in its back? What? This is the most replayed on the video. This, of course, has to be. They staged this. This is how many take? Was this like their 15th take? And they were just like, guys, we got to be done soon. It's getting 7 p.m. We're 2 hours past stopping time. Come on.
It's a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll.
Look at baby doll. It's a baby doll, and it's got like a clothes on, but it's sort of open, like the back, and he's holding it.
But also, it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs.
Secrete. What word was he going for? Secret? Where you could secrete. There must be a word I can't think of right now. Leave a comment below, everybody. So he sort of like wedges his bag of what we're supposed to think is drugs. Is that real drugs, you think? It's green. Everybody knows the baggies of greens is drugs. Could be some spice.
A place where you can secrete or hide drugs.
Yeah, he jams it into like the pants of the baby and then like pulls like the dress down to hide drugs inside the baby's clothes.
Secrete or hide drugs. Run your hands over the pillows and see if you feel anything that's unusual. Like a pillow like this where the button is a perfect invitation to hide something.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. So there's a red pillow with a big button. God, I assume it's the back of the pillow, but it's sort of like a button that you would loop something over to hold the pillow case onto the pillow internal part.
Felt something bumpy. I would reach in, see what it is.
What's he got?
This one could be hidden inside.
He pulls out a gun.
Maybe something that you'll think that can't be hidden there, but it can. And what happens? Not only
that sucks when you go to bed, you're tired, and then you just like put your head back on your pillow and you like bump your nose up against your gun. Who puts their face down on the pillow first? Usually you roll into that.
when the person who is carrying this illegal gun is in possession of it, but also a child that comes into
You
the
use the
room
gun
and
to
plays
kill
on
the baby
bed,
that's got
they
the
find
drugs.
This gun.
This baby sold drugs. Just gave your kid a crack pipe and a bullet.
Let me tell you what a child would do. A child would take this gun, and because the trigger pull is so hard, they normally take the gun and they point it in their direction to pull down on it.
So he uses like his thumb and points it right at his neck, kind of head area. He's so casual with it. Who trained these guys? Alec Baldwin?
Because the trigger pull is so hard,
What if
they
it went
normally
off?
take the gun.
What if that's like, and everything just went real dark, real fast? You know, I don't mean like literal, like I mean dark and like the scary, like something terrible happens right now on accident. Yeah.
They pointed in their direction to pull down on it. So many gun accidents take place.
Check
mainly
your kids' flight logs. They might be receiving illegal Turkish contributions from the Turkish government for bypassing fire department protection laws.
Child discovers a gun in the room and believes it's a toy, and they play with the gun. Just look and see what's inside your
We got
bookcases.
another one here.
It could be more than just books. Perfect place to hide cocaine or other illegal stuff.
Like the funniest thing is they have props. That's what makes this so funny.
Perfect place to hide cocaine or
He's got
other
a bag.
illegal substance inside the room. My message to you.
All right, let's just pause for a sec. I'm gonna back up and see what books are on the shelf
cocaine
here.
or other illegal substance inside the room.
Okay, just moving.
My message to you, you have an obligation to protect your home. The First Amendment does not apply to the right of parents to go through their homes, to remove...
Okay, all right, fine. Okay, well, thank you, sir. Thank you, Eric. You did a great job. Going away for a long time, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to see Olayemi's next broadcast about it. I mentioned her earlier. So she had lots. She's a public defender in New York too. So smart. And I was just saying earlier, check out the Trillbillies. Wanted to show their thing since I bothered pulling it up. There you go. Give those fellas a good look. They're fun. They have a lot. Look at them. 4.8 fucking high rated at 1.8 thousand positive reviews compared to your other favorite podcast, the Winners and Losers Show. 4.8 with only 18 reviews on iTunes, guys. We got to beat the Trillbillies, okay? They got 1.8 thousand. I got 18. That's a factor of 3, or is that right? Is that how that right? 3x or no? It's 3 zeros. Is that how you do the 1.8? Anyway, similar number. They have clearly a much larger and more popular show. I'm not making it, but anyway. Go leave me a nice review. Put some 5 stars on there. You can say whatever you want. I mean, don't be a dick about it. Don't have to go fuck it up for me. Don't do that. But if you feel like doing that, that's a way to help the show. Like, subscribe, Patreon, support the TYT project. 2.5, 3 years of work. And it's utterly destroyed. I haven't even made back the $250 that I gave to a fucking lawyer to give me a little bit of advice about some of the stuff with this. It wasn't, I'm still, I need about $200 to at least break even on the income in that sense. But I need money. I need to pay my rent. I need to get this thing done. And I think it's worth funding. I'm going to probably do a GoFundMe sooner than later. It's very daunting. It's going to be so difficult, especially if I am not able to recruit any allies to help out or jump in on it. You know, I'm going to try to probably reach out first to some people, see if anybody, because I don't have it in me to get it all the way. I think my project could go big. I think my project could reach a lot of people. I want it to be something far larger than just the Young Turks orbit. It's about work and power and dignity and work and organizing unions and why it's important to have the right to organize and the kind of conditions that would drive people to stand up for themselves. And then it's also about the media and the journalistic ethics that are at play And I'm calling out my former company for lying to their audience about how the union started at their company, because I had to start the union because I wanted health care. I had to help start the union, I should say. So that's yeah. So I don't know. It's a big deal, and my hope is that it launches a career into other political documentaries and other sort of things like that I could hopefully conduct on a more like classic route than doing it in secret and hoping the internet would want to help me out. You know, maybe finding partners, collaborators to like fund something. You know, they pay for movies. All the people get funded to make a documentary. I don't know how it works. I need help doing that. I can't do it all by myself. I think I've got some of the skills that it takes, you know, the editing stuff and etc., downloading shit off the internet, talking, writing, blah, blah, blah. I have a lot to offer, but man, I think you need like a lot more people to throw in on a complex project like any kind of documentary, truly. So yeah, consider kicking in a little bit maybe, or, you know, or at least just promote, help keep your eyes open. Maybe when the GoFundMe launches, I'll probably have a more clear kind of battle plan for that. I don't even know what I should ask for money wise. Like I doubt, I would be surprised if I just did it myself, if I could even raise $2,000, which I could use $2,000, but that ain't shit comparatively speaking to the months and months of work I have to do still, let alone the years of work I've already done and the debt that I've acquired to do it. And when you make a movie called Tell the Truth, Former Employer, it's a pretty big red flag for getting hired in almost any job following. So it severely, like, I've already paid a steep price for speaking up on my principles and speaking up against a powerful person for their, you know, rotten behavior. The shit was fucking wrong, man. And it took years to get ready to the point where I could come forward and talk about it. And it's stressful as hell. Beards don't fall out for no reason, you know? So that's all I got. Give it a good, give it all a look. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you tuning in. Like and subscribe. I've already said that part. I hope you're doing well. And stay safe. Go look through your kids' knapsacks and babies. Maybe there's drugs in your children's baby clothes, on their baby dolls, or maybe maybe there's guns in the pillows. Drugs in the books. Check their jewelry box. If your kid slips up and calls it a gun box, you'll know maybe it's time to investigate. Okay, there's no First Amendment in your house.